Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we're on Fish Friday number 159, and of course it's not Friday, it's a Saturday. I apologize for that. It's been a tough week. We've recently took in family friends. It's not even family friends, they are family, into the house, so we have been helping them out. So we've been dealing with that and helping them. So because of that, I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't get anything prepared for this week. And as you can also see, I'm recording on my phone outside, so you'll see goats and dogs and chickens and ducks in the background. But I still wanted to give you a video. And last night I was thinking of what I could possibly do, especially a day late with zero preparation. Well, a question I get frequently asked is, what are your favorite fish? What's your favorite fish? And I feel that that's a very difficult question for a lot of people who work as fishery scientists. Because when you know about the numerous species of fish out there, how do you pick one that's a favorite? But I feel like there's categories that you can relate to, or relate them to. So instead of saying, what's your favorite fish? We're gonna go down. I figured what might be a good day is a list of my favorite fish by the categories that a lot of people place fish in. So like the first thing, my favorite shark is the Port Jackson shark. We did this Fish Friday video. I even said in that it's my favorite shark. A lot of it has to do with the jawbone, but it is a very cool shark that, I mean, when people think of sharks, they're thinking, great whites, bull sharks, you know. Thank you, Millie, for, okay, photobomb by Millie, and she's gonna yell at me. And a shark that's not eating flesh, but it's eating sponges. And that to me is really neat. Some honorable mentions would be the saw shark and the Greenland shark, which I don't know if we've done the saw shark, but I know we've done the Greenland shark. And they have their own plethora of reasons why. My favorite saltwater fish is 100% outside of sharks, is the mandarin fish, which we've also talked about here. They are just incredibly beautiful. The striking colors. I know we've done a Fish Friday on this. It is just one of the most beautiful fish I think you could ever possibly imagine. My goat's eating my chair back there. It's just gorgeous in every single way. So yeah, so there's kind of the saltwater side. But freshwater is what I studied, what I got my career in. And as such, freshwater I have to break down significantly more. So when we're talking about those, I kind of go with catfish, major predators, smaller predators, things like sunfish, darters, and probably minnows. We'll go with those. So my favorite catfish. I love catfish. So that question in and of itself is really, really difficult. In terms of the aquarium, it's Sterisoma, which would be like the Royal Farluella. The Royal Farluella is one of my favorite catfish that I could ever have in an aquarium. I think it's beautiful. My wife, Mrs. Ping, thinks it's absolutely hideous, but it's my fish, so tough. Beyond that, you really have just so many options. I think it would probably be the goonch. because the Goonch catfish is what launched one of my favorite shows on TV in the history, River Monsters. It's the reason why it exists, but there's plenty of other catfish out there, and they're not even that big, that also make me super interested. The Amazon red-tailed. I actually think flathead catfish are really neat, but we'll probably go with the Goonch. So we went catfish, large predators, and this one isn't even close. It's the Arapaima. The Arapaima, a lot of people think might be like the alligator gar, since I grew up catching those and knowing about those and learning about those. And while the alligator gar and all the gar species are really cool, Arapaima just still has to take the cake. It's so monstrous and big, but still just beautiful in its own way. You watch pictures of or videos of Arapaima swimming, and you can literally feel the power in the video, the power of that fish. And with the odd amount of striking colors on it, it's just up there. Now, the honorable mention for that would have been the silver arowana. The silver arowana is really what it's and this honestly probably should be my favorite, but the Arapaima just takes the cake. But the silver arowana is actually what kind of got me interested in science to begin with, if you can believe that. When I was a kid, I remember we went to an aquarium, and I can't remember a single thing about the aquarium, but I remember there was a pamphlet I had that I read hundreds of times. And one of the pamphlet pages that I read, it might have been a small book, because I can't remember anything but the silver arowana. And that's when I learned that this was a fish that could leap out of the water and eat bats, and is known for that. It blew my mind as a kid. How can a fish eat a bat? That's really what kind of started my scientific journey towards fish and natural resources work. The Arapaima, it hits all the caveats for me. It's good. So now we go to small predators, which I'm basically calling like sunfish, small pike, like chain pickerel and things like that. And this one, again, well above and beyond, even if you wouldn't really call this a predator. There's one of my roosters. Even if you wouldn't call this an actual predator, long-ear sunfish. Long-ear sunfish, I've seen so many variations of this. It is an absolutely beautiful sunfish. Everything about it is just striking, and that's the reason why. It has nothing to do with its biology or its ecology. In fact, as far as ecology goes, it's kind of bland. There's not a lot of interesting things about it, but the colors just hit me. Every time I see a new variation of their color patterns and a new striking one moving into the breeding color season, I love everything about long-ear sunfish. So now we go to darters, and darters is a tough one, and I flip so often. So I'm going to kind of give you my top 3. So that was like the best way I could come up with this, is like my top 3, because at one point all 3 are my favorite, and I'm not talking about like over the past years. I'm talking like over the past year they've rotated. First darter is the snail darter, which we covered in one of our early Fish Friday videos. And it's literally because of the history behind the fish, since it was the first case of where it was the first time that the Endangered Species Act had been called into question. And it was a fantastic case. It really set the groundwork for future natural resources work involving endangered species. It's so important to the history of natural resources work that it's literally lessons in college, like entire lessons, a full day spent talking about that case. It's so critical. And that's why we do these videos, or why I do these videos, is to relay these, get people getting some of this knowledge out into the world so that people can understand that it's not just catching fish. There's so much history behind everything. The second darter. You know, these animals were quiet all morning. All morning. All morning. The second darter is going to be the lollipop darter. I legitimately have no reason for this. It's not a colorful darter. It has really neat bulbs on the end of its fin rays, on its dorsal fin ray. The name and the combination of it having little lollipops on its back, it just gets me. I don't know. I love it, and I can't think of any reason why. It's not like excessively exciting. It's not very colorful, but it is. So lollipop darter. And the third one is going to be the orange throat darter, I believe. Most of my work in areas I have done, most of my professional career, I've been exposed to one of two darter species, the orange throat darter and the green throat darter. Green throat darter has its place, but the orange throat darter, I encourage you to go look this fish up. In fact, we did a Fish Friday video on it as well. The orange throat darter has incredibly striking colors. It has this very red, white, and blue dorsal fin during breeding. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it to death. And it hits the cake because I actually have the opportunity to catch many, many, many of these and enjoy every single time that I catch one. So there's your darters. Now, minnows. My favorite minnow, which if you've been a part of the channel for a long time, you know that minnows is a huge family. Massive, massive family. This one we've also done Fish Friday on. I even believe I said this in the video. My number one minnow, pause for dramatic effect. Good coffee. Colorado pike minnow. Not to say that there's not a ton of cool minnows out there. There is. There's ton. It's a very hard one to do. You have all these. I mean, this is just cool. But yes, it's got to be the Colorado pike minnow, because just like so many other people growing up, I thought minnows were baby fish. Didn't even think they were fish. I was just like, oh, they're just baby fish. And it took me an embarrassing long time to be like, wait, if there's this many baby fish, why aren't there 10 billion more bigger fish? And they're not, because they're not baby fish. Some of the fish that people have said are minnows are, definitely there, but no, they're full grown, things like that. So most of the time when people think minnow, they're thinking this itty bitty fish swimming around clear water that they see on the top and flying away and whatever. And then there's the Colorado pike minnow, which is the world's largest minnow. And it is monstrous. I can't remember. I'm very confident that it gets 5 feet at max. But I want to believe that it also, there's records of it getting up to 7 or 8 feet long. Regardless, when anybody who says minnow that is not well versed in what that means, you say minnow, they're going to think baby small fish, not the Colorado pike minnow. And that's what really changed it, because that was in my basic biology class in college. It was a fact that went in there. Pop, it hit me. Minnows completely changed. That's when I started delving. This was before, like when I had first gotten in college and before I had actually determined what my career path would take. So I hadn't chosen fisheries by this time. It was like, I think it was legitimately my second semester of college that this happened. I had started wildlife biology, but first year is just taking basic, non-important classes. So yeah, Colorado pike minnow, and it's actually a really neat fish as well. Please go watch that video, go do some extra research, go look at some pictures if nothing else, and look at how this fish just exists. It's really, really interesting. So please go look at that. One last honorable mention, something that you can throw in there, favorite prehistoric fish. It's kind of cheating because Arapaima is part of the prehistoric fish sort of lineage. But there's kind of two honorable mentions I want to throw in there. The paddlefish being one of them, the American paddlefish. The paddlefish is an incredibly unique fish species that I think is incredibly valued, and people really need to take a look at that and understand what's going on with the American paddlefish. Not necessarily it's what's happening now, but I'm talking about understand what's going on in the ecology and the biology of that fish species, because it is such a unique fish that is so interesting. And there's so much going on there that, think about this, when you would think of something like that, like how that fish operates, this huge rostral that has all these sensors in it, and then it opens its mouth to this huge gaping hole, but it eats the tiniest things. And this is not a small fish, it can get large. So American paddlefish. The next one, it's kind of like my shameful fish. Like, I wish I didn't like it so much, but how can you not? The coelacanth. The coelacanth, it is an important fish. It is, you know, the living fossil that started the history of living fossils. Like, it's probably the most well known. It's so well known that it's almost like boring. There's still a lot of interesting things going on there, but it's just like, we know about that. It is what it is. It started what it started, but I still can't help it. It's still important. But thank you guys so much again. I am so sorry that this video is a day late. Please forgive me. Please excuse all of the animal noises. I hope to have my normal setup back by next week. I am planning on moving my setup from the guest bedroom to like the living room. So I do hope to be able to go back to providing the extremely well edited videos, in quotations, to you, so that we can, you know, go back to our normal routine. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but especially right now, it's very much appreciated. Regardless, take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. I'm living proof. Take care of your loved ones. Never turn loved ones away. Thank you so much again. Take care of yourselves. Peace.